Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 71 of the Tait Talks podcast. I am back with returning guest Thabo. Is it Tshuma? Tshuma. See, I probably should have asked before I fucked that up.
Probably.
But here we are,
No,
professional. I think the last time you were on was, I looked at it before, 1,025 days ago,
Holy shit.
2.8 years ago.
That's crazy.
So go through everything that's happened since then.
Well, what has happened since then, man? It's so crazy because, like, it really feels like last time I saw you was
Yeah, it's fucked.
like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has not been.
It has been
I've
3
been in
years.
Melbourne for nearly 2 years,
Yeah.
and you've been nestled away in Perth. I think it was episode 32 or something like that. So it shows that I don't put out many podcasts because I'm up to 71. But just a quick recap from that one. That was a weird episode because we were doing another podcast, your podcast at the time, which is no longer going.
Yes.
And then one of your co-hosts was there early, so he jumped on the podcast.
Yes.
Bruno. But in that episode, we started to talk about that you were originally from Zimbabwe.
Yes. Yeah. From Zim. What is there to say about Zim? I'm like it's weird because like when I mentioned that I'm from Zimbabwe, most people they are surprised because I don't come off as Zimbabwean.
I don't know what the Zimbabwean accent is.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
get a lot of American.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
You don't really have like, hey, you going, cunt? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you are a Zimbabwe, New Zealand, and Australian living person.
Yes, yeah,
So that is always going to be some...
like a big mix.
Yeah.
Like my accent is very. It has more of an American twang to it.
Yeah, I would say so, which is good for comedy because people could understand you.
That's right. But do you watch UFC at all?
I love UFC.
You know Israel Adesanya.
Yep.
Me and him, like our accent is very. Like if I'm watching him doing an interview.
I'm just trying to picture. Keep talking. I'm trying
Yeah. No,
when Adesanya comes into my head.
when I listen to him doing an interview, I come off starting to sound like him a lot more because he's
You're like, I jerked off a dog.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, fuck it. I love anime.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, my accent is all over the place. And then my other co-host now for the show that I do, Angry Africans, he's South African New Zealander,
Yeah, okay.
but he has a very strong Kiwi accent.
Yes.
So whenever I finish recording with him, I start to sound like, hey, I'm from New Zealand. Yeah.
Just a chameleon.
Yeah. I'm a mongrel. But I am from Zimbabwe, beautiful country. Like probably a lot of Zimbabweans in fucking Melbourne, hey.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking
A lot of everyone in
Zimbabweans.
Melbourne.
Yeah. A lot of everybody. But in Zimbabwe, in Melbourne and Perth, more so. This is many. There's too much.
I was
Too many.
What? So I was just Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just because it's closer. Like it's cheaper to fly from Southern Africa to Western Australia and Victoria,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Queensland and New South Wales.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what year? How old were you when you came? Wait. So you're in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Let's start with why did you come to Australia?
So we're in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe went through. Let's go back in the 1970s.
Okay.
Right. Zimbabwe was Rhodesia.
Yes.
And it was the Ian Smith government.
Okay.
Yeah, who was it was like a white majority government.
Sounds racist.
It was very racist.
Yeah.
It was like profoundly racist. And it's always funny for me because there's a lot of white Zimbabweans, former Rhodesians.
Like who's the dude in Blood Diamond? Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo, yeah.
Only from Rhodesia.
Yeah.
I don't know what accent that was, but
that was close.
yeah.
But like, yeah, a lot of white Zimbabweans in Perth, and whenever I sort of speak to them, we're, oh yeah, oh, from Zim. Da, da. When were you there? Oh, we were there in the '80s, and then we left. Like, what happened? You know what happened. So like,
Ian Smith.
yeah. So like, they have a very different view of what Zimbabwe was as opposed to what I
really?
have, because they
Yeah.
were there when it was like white Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah, white owned Zimbabwe, and then now it's like black owned Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So Zimbabwe had a very tumultuous history racially, but then what happened was during the white controlled Rhodesian times, economically it was very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then we had our war for independence. We got independence in the 1980s. Mugabe, who was the dictator of Zimbabwe, was in power, and then he stopped playing nice with the Western powers, like Britain especially,
Yep.
and the US. So then they imposed sanctions on Zimbabwe, and then Zimbabwe went from being very wealthy to being very poor, like in a pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So around the early 2000s, when things were really starting to go south,
Yeah. So
That's-
how old are you in the early 2000s?
I am 11.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're old enough to recognize like, shit, it's a bit little. fucking
Yeah,
loose
things were
now.
getting weird, man. Like, I remember very clearly coming home from school and there being like not riots, but political demonstrations constantly
Really.
on the street. Yeah. People like walking in big groups with signs, like chanting. Sometimes there'll be violence
Yeah.
just outside our house and shit.
Do you get? Are they teaching you things at school to be like, this is what's happening, or is it sort of like, let's not scare these kids?
Nah, I mean it was hard to ignore because it was sort of happening to everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like that, like the sanctions, the economy was bad, and then at the same time we had a big AIDS epidemic.
Ew.
Yeah, that swept through the country. Like I lost a lot of family members around the same time to HIV and
Really?
AIDS. Yeah. So there was a lot of things that were just happening. And my dad was like, all right, time to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look for something better. So we moved to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But in Zimbabwe, things were bad. It never got like super violent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like even when I went back in 2017,
Yeah.
you never felt. Sometimes when you go to like a third world country, and you're walking around, you're like, holy shit, I feel like not safe. Like someone's gonna stab me or hit my head over their head with a machete or something. But you never felt that. You don't feel that in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
But you do feel like someone's gonna steal from you.
Okay.
And you wouldn't blame them if they did,
Yeah.
because
It's hard.
it's hard.
Yeah.
People are poor. You can't rely on the government for anything. So, yeah, people will steal from you. And you're like, all right, yeah.
So you just have to be careful.
Yeah, you just have to be extra vigilant. Like, if I'm at a restaurant and I have my phone, I can't leave my phone on a table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're driving around, you can't have your bag on your lap or something like that, because someone would just come over and snatch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they need it more than you.
Yeah. So that is the issue, I suppose. Like,
Yeah.
even this is a smaller fucking sample size for me, but like I work in retail in the city, which you're currently staying around that area where we weirdly met.
Yes. Yeah, that was
He
so
just,
weird.
He's just walking past my work, and I was like, Thabo?
How much of a tourist did I look like, by the
You
way?
had your phone out. Like this.
Yeah, just
Look at
look
this
at
fucking guy. Oh, it's Thabo. Wait,
I look like a refugee too, because
well, not another. No.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But but that area alone, like we get people coming in stealing, like homeless people.
Yeah.
Not stealing homeless people. I don't know who'd take them, but they steal things. They steal bits and pieces from the store, and I sort of just like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like Well, people who steal need it.
They need it.
Unless you're like Winona Ryder, and she used to just steal shit
for fun, yeah.
Allegedly.
Oh,
She
had a
got
problem.
done, actually.
She did, yeah. No, she did her time. And but it was funny, like being a movie star and be like,
well, that just becomes like I'm bored, doesn't it? Like you need a thrill from something.
Yeah.
You've got everything, and then you're like, what about if I just steal it? Stealing's fun. Like I'll look down the camera and say, stealing is fun.
Well, I still steal quite a bit.
Let me zoom in.
Yeah, please do.
Name all the places.
Woolies, Coles.
Oh yeah, supermarkets.
You got to
that's
steal
fair,
from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's morally. I think it's morally justified to steal. You should steal from them.
When they make literally $1 billion in.
Yeah, didn't the CEO of Coles like take home like some massive like $1 million package? Yeah,
it's something absurd, like $20 million or something.
Yeah, and eggs
and they're
$7.
like making massive profits while everyone else is like, we can't afford this, and they're like, it's all right, we'll keep bread at $2. Shh.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Thanks, yeah.
And that's the funny thing about Zimbabwe as well, is all the money was, yes, there were the sanctions from the West, but you can clearly see where all the money is in the country when you drive past. Like you go to like, it was so funny. So in Harare, which is the capital, the presidential palace or whatever the fuck you want to call it is like in the sort of smack bang in the center.
Yeah.
And you clearly know where it is because there's like armed guards everywhere. And you're driving around that place and the roads.
Oh, nice and paved.
No.
Oh, they're shit.
They're shit roads. Like terrible roads.
Okay.
And they're so bad and it's so common. You're like, if he's driving here, surely he's getting like hit by a pothole.
Yeah.
But then you see like the cars that are driving around the area.
Yeah.
I saw a fucking McLaren F1 in Harare.
Jeez.
A McLaren F1. That's $1 million car. And the car is like fucking, the guy is driving, he's having to 4-wheel drive it because the roads are so bad. Like you'll be going through like a shanty town, like a really shitty, like really bad, poor area. And like most of the houses are like basic brick, no windows. It's just cardboard up there.
Ooh.
There's like 10 houses literally made out of like roof.
Like corrugated iron.
Corrugated iron. Yeah. Like little kids running around with like no shoes. And then like a mansion. Yeah. And then back to like shitty houses.
Those mansions and stuff, obviously, it would, as you said, it sticks out so much. Are they now like a sort of a target for crime? Or do they have like security?
They have security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people with visible guns.
Yes. Yeah. And they're not afraid to use them. Yeah.
Ew.
Yes.
So what's the law though? Like, if someone comes onto your property, are you allowed to shoot them?
There's not that many guns in Zimbabwe, but like when a thief gets caught, I'll tell you one story.
Yeah, okay.
When we were little, I remember coming home from school and we were walking, like, because we'd walk, from to and from school. And I remember one time we were walking past like the shops and there's a massive crowd of people out there. Like massive crowd, like really.
That's never good.
Yeah, like we saw the dust plumes before we. Oh, sorry, we saw the dust plumes before we saw the crowd, and it was like holy shit, and it was like the entire neighborhood beating the shit out of these two guys. Yeah, like
street justice.
Street justice because they were caught stealing from someone's house.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that's not that bad.
Yeah, but I think they both died that day.
That's bad.
That's bad, yeah.
Jesus.
I think
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Listen to the rest of the story, Tait.
Exactly, yeah. It was funny. It was like old ladies beating him, like little kids like kicking him in the shins.
Like a fucking Monty Python skit.
Yeah, exactly. Guys just covered in blood, tied up, and then we heard that they took him to the police station. They beat him to the police station.
Naturally just moved him every kick.
Exactly, yeah. And then the police like bashed him as well, and they both died, like those guys. So if you are caught stealing, especially from someone's house,
Yeah. It's just street justice.
street justice, yeah. So that's like the deterrent because everyone's poor.
Well, that is... It's one of those ones where you like, you know, as you said, you're not going to do it because if you get caught,
You're fucked.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like it could be the end of your life.
Yeah.
Which for those guys it was. There's like a bit of an epidemic here in Melbourne at the moment and people breaking into tradies' cars. At night.
Right.
So I worked for a short stint at a tool place not too long ago, and in a week, this is no joke, in a week, there was 7 people who had to get whole new kits of like power tools. So probably from ranging about $5,000 to $10, $10,000 worth of stuff they got taken, and go to the cops and be like, yeah, this is what happened. They're like, join the queue.
Oh.
And then they'll never get any money ever back. Like,
Never. Yeah.
So if there was a bit of street justice,
Yeah,
it
man.
would stop that stuff. I don't really... I mean, they needed to steal because they needed the money. That sucks.
Yeah.
But also it does keep people in line when there's a bit of a threat of being like, someone might just come out and just fucking...
Just fuck you up, yeah.
And then the next door neighbors get involved. And then the kids.
Yeah.
And the grandma. And then the dog.
Yeah.
And then the fucking rooster. Whatever's around is just like, fuck it.
Everyone's out there,
It
man.
gives us something to do.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
old, so you were how old when that happened?
I was like 10.
So did you physically see the people getting like...
Yes. Yeah, I saw all that. Yeah.
That's
saw
when you
the
fell
two
in love with
guys.
UFC.
Exactly, yeah. I remember like this is so fucked up, but like the thing that because the guy was beaten up, man.
Yeah.
But I remember the thing that really made me go, ooh, was his knee was like bleeding. And as a little kid, that's like the worst kind of injury you can get. You fall on the ground and your knee gets like, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I remember seeing how much blood was coming from his knee and being like, oh, they got him.
Yeah, that's just a different world though. Like I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've seen a few people get kicked in the head when they've been on the ground.
Right.
Like in fights and stuff.
Yes.
And that's always like, ugh. But I think every time I've actually seen it happen, it's been a boyfriend has hit another guy and then the girlfriend has walked over. But they haven't like, if they said to me, Tate, you kicked that person in the head as hard as you could on the ground, I'm pretty sure I'd kill that person.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, like, I've done sports.
Yes.
I weigh 1,000 kilos, so my legs are quite muscly I'm pretty sure I'd end them.
Yeah, you could really hurt somebody, yeah.
But because this chick was in stilettos, like, take that, you dick.
Right,
Kind of missed.
right.
So I was just like, so lucky. Because if a dude did it, it's like, good fucking night.
Yeah, it's either you kill them or you change their life forever.
My mate got kicked in the head when he was on the ground and broke his neck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he had like a halo for however long it takes type thing. So, yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like the doctor said to him, "Was like if it was like fucking this much away, you're dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because your airway just goes. Bing.
Yeah, that's right.
So
It's so weird, like seeing now, especially now that we know so much about brain damage.
yeah, we watch the UFC and we're like, fucking hit him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
This fight's boring. He only got choked out.
exactly. Yeah, but like especially street fights when you see someone get knocked out,
And they hit it.
they hit their head, and then they
Do
kind of
this.
and then you're like, oh, he got him. I'm like, that person's life has changed.
Oh, that is
forever.
a brain injury. Like,
Yes.
that only. It's got a term. I can't remember what it is, but
Yeah, CTE.
well, yeah, but it's like that actual like there's a I can't remember what it is.
yeah,
but there's
yeah,
an actual
no,
word for it.
that's
but,
right.
Yeah, that's that. I'm pretty sure that means the brain is like
Season up.
fucked.
Yeah, like an engine.
Yeah.
Seizing
Yeah.
between gears. But yeah, it's so funny because I'm a support worker as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes I support guys with traumatic brain injuries.
Yeah.
And seeing the other side of that,
Yeah.
when people, like one of the
rest
guys,
of their life.
yeah, one of the guys that I supported for briefly, he was he was working on a construction site, and a fucking beam just went boink with his helmet on.
Yeah.
But it was that heavy that it cracked the helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just fucked him up for life. And this is like a guy with kids and a wife. It was so fucked up because like the wife, to her credit, would still like come and visit him and shit like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't live with her anymore. But he's still like, that's my wife. I'm married to her. But you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's such a tough one. Like, when you get married in sickness and in health?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, yeah, but I signed up when you were in health.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? Like,
to her credit, she's still with him. No, I mean, she's still seeing him and taking care of him, but they're not married.
Oh yeah, it's
They don't live together.
yeah, you've got this unfortunate thing. You know what I mean? It's a hard one. It's such a shitty situation.
And he doesn't know. He just because his brain doesn't work properly.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't know.
She's gone on for live her life type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
well, if you listen to the podcast, champ, your wife's cheating on you.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Zimbabwe had a lot of issues like that. And it's kind of unfair as well because you know, there's like a racial thing that happens with it where the white Zimbabweans are like, things were so much better under white rule. Right?
Yep.
But what they fail to mention is that there were all these sanctions that happened because our leader would not play nice with the West. So they just shut him out. Same thing happened with Venezuela, where like they didn't want the Venezuelan people didn't want to, deal with America.
Yeah.
So they just shut them off from the world, and then it became poor. And then look at you see that? See what happens? They can't run themselves.
We were trading with you.
Yeah, you kicked them out.
Yeah. We essentially, it's like getting fired from the world.
Yeah.
I mean? Like you're supposed to interact, trade, blah blah blah, blah.
Exactly.
And then it's like, no, you don't have a job anymore. And you're like,
yeah, I'm like, well, put yourself back together. I'm like, dude, I can't get employed.
Yeah.
And Zimbabwe's landlocked, so there's no ports.
Yeah.
So everything has to be smuggled in.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? So like, I get a little bit weird with that when I meet white Zimbabweans and they're like, oh man, it was so much better.
Do they actively say that?
They don't, but it's like implied. Like,
it's on their tattoo.
They're like, man, when it was Rhodesia, even for black people, it was better. I'm like, it was not really that much better. But we had to leave, and when I came back to Zimbabwe, I left in 2003, and I came back in 2017.
Yeah, so 14 years?
Yeah, 15 years, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time. And it had become like really sad to see how much things had degraded.
Just like, is there more shantytown, like it just goes further and stuff? Yeah,
man. Yeah, I mean, one thing, my memory of what everything looked like was skewed because it'd been 15 years and I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So
like that's where that guy got beaten to death.
Yeah, exactly. I still remember that.
Yeah.
That's like trauma.
Yeah, that's.
But I still remember that spot and those shops.
Yeah.
But
Does it still have the chalk outline?
Yeah, exactly. It's like mangled. His knees like a little red. But things had like really gotten bad. Like I remember we were driving. I was there with my mom and my two grandmothers. And we had to drive across country. Worst trip I've ever fucking taken, man. Just like 3 old women and me just like, oh my God, I just want to kill myself. But we had to drive cross country. Yeah. And I remember we were like running out of fuel. Oh. And we'd pass fuel stations that had no fuel. Oh. Yeah. Well, like we'd pass and we'd be like, hey, is the Bowser working? No, we just don't have fuel. Fuck. You know, like,
can I get a Kit Kat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, why are you? We don't get fuel for like a couple more days. And then I remember we're driving past. We asked the few people, like, so where can we get the next fuel? And then the guy's like, well, I have a cousin that I'll give you his number. You kick me like $30. I'll give you his number and he'll sort you out. And then I'm like, oh, cool. Is it coming in? He's like, no, you just have to like drive a couple of kilometers down the road. You'll see a little house.
Yeah.
And just pull in there and he'll sort you out. And so, all right. So then like he made a call. We drove out. We saw this dude sitting on the side of the road. Remember, this is the bush.
Yeah.
Guy just sitting out at the side of the road like that. And then we're like, are you so-and-so's cousins? Yeah, man. Yeah, pulled through. Then we like pulled into someone's house. And I'm like, we're about to get fucking murdered right now. Because it's me and my grandmothers. Yeah. Both of them. And my mom. And so I'm the last line of defense.
Yeah, you die first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if something's gonna happen, they're gonna kill me first.
Yeah, take the thread out.
And then they're gonna like take their organs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like 7 dudes roll out. They come out of the house and they have these giant drums of like pink liquid, and they fucking like filled up our tank.
Really?
Yeah. And what had happened was, because the guy told us later on, the reason why there's no fuel in the fuel stations is because the guy who's in charge of fuel in the country, like the minister of fucking infrastructure, whatever, he buys the fuel from Botswana and he just keeps it and he sells it on the black market. So this is history. And it's also why the cops don't do anything about it, because he owns the cops as well. Yeah. So they just fucking stole all of the wealth. Yeah. So it's like, it was crazy because I'd never seen petrol before. You never see it.
No. I know diesel looks weirdly like yellowy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the other ones. We just got to pause. They just take the fuel. Like
they just take it and
the
just
minister
keep it.
for fucking fuel or whatever.
Yeah.
Just keeps it, sells it in the black market, and then people just become fuel barons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just fucking like everything's on the black market.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Anyone who seems to be like in charge just seems to be like doing something dodgy.
They just steal it, because it's so funny. It is on. When I was there, we were there in 2017. Because what they did, because the inflation had gotten to such a high level. Yeah, remember, like famously, Zimbabwe is like a country of trillionaires. Because they're like $1 trillion note. Yeah. So it got so out of hand that what they did was, they're like, okay, like these are garbage, literally $10 trillion. Like we're printing $10 trillion notes. It makes no sense. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bond the Zimbabwean dollar to the US dollar. So you get what's called a bond note. Yeah. Now the way that works is, with a bond note, you can trade in the country 1-to-1. Yeah. $1 to $1, but you can't use a bond note outside of the country. Yeah. Right. So if you take it to like across the border, it's completely worthless. Yeah. Yeah. But it just stops things from getting ridiculous with the trading. So what happens? So when we went over there, because we had to do some things for family and stuff like that, we had US dollars with us. And people would obviously prefer US dollars to trade, because then they can take them outside of the country and do business there.
World currency.
Yeah, but you also needed to have bond notes with you, because like if you're gonna deal with the cops, you want to give them a bond note. Yeah, you don't want to let them know you have US dollars.
Yeah, because it could be like
the bribe is gonna be insane for you. Yeah, so it was funny, because we had to like, you couldn't go to the bank, because what the bank would do is you put in your money, $100 US, and then they give you back 100 bond.
Yeah.
And then you go back and be like, I need my 100 US because I'm leaving. Oh, sorry, man, we've already. We've spent it. We don't know where it is. We won't have it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have 100 bond, you can use that. And you're like, well, you just stole from me because this is garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is paper.
Yeah, so we had to like go to black market money changes, which was so funny. Like we went to this, we went to like a fucking chicken restaurant, and we're like, do you know, like someone who trades in currency? And the guy's like, yeah. And then we had to like go around the corner, and there's this black SUV.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a fucking gangster and shit. And we like knock on the door, say the little password.
Oh, here's a password.
Yeah. And
chicken is nice.
Exactly, yeah. And then the guy opens the door, and the SUV is like filled with money. It's like stacks, like 10. I don't know how much money, but like a lot of fucking US dollars. Like a lot of South African rand, a lot of Chinese, I think it's yen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you can trade in Chinese money as well. And this guy's just in a limo stacked with money. And
is he the coolest man ever?
Yeah, he's blinged out and shit. Yeah. And we like, hey, can we get some bond notes? And it's like, yeah. And then that was like the bank. He's like a mobile bank. Mobile black market bank.
That is...
Yeah.
It's just a different world. It seems like it's not real, but it is.
It's it was ridiculous, man. Like that trip was so insane. I hope I'm making sense by that. I'm sort of hopping from place to place. Because the culture shock for me was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like holy shit. Cuz there's like little things that you don't realize that you do that are like you shouldn't do. Like, for example, if I'm walking and I have my phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
And my phone is just peeking a little bit out of my pocket like that.
Yeah.
If I'm walking down the street here, you don't even think about that.
No.
But over there, that's like a signal.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to yank your fucking phone and take it. And it was so funny because I'll be like in line to go, get a drink or whatever. And you just see that dude like right up against your ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ready to take
something. Yeah.
Jeez.
And you're just like, oh, fuck, all right, this is the game that we're playing.
This guy's going to either rob me or fuck me.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob.
I'm hoping he's robbing me, 100%. And he's black too, so so what happened? So we're there.
Yep.
In Zimbabwe. We had to build a house for my grandmother because she was sort of getting on. She had a house in one of the cities. It's called Bulawayo.
Yep.
But the house was getting a bit small. And she was like, wanted to move back to her home village, right? Because she's I want to end my life, finish my life.
How old is she?
80.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. 78 at the time. And now she's like 80 something.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's getting on.
Yeah.
But she's like spry. She's very strong. But she wanted to go back to our home village, which is Cholocho. And so we're going to build a house there in Cholocho. So we had to like go around and build a house. So you had to like meet with, builders. You had to meet with like water people, electricity people, et cetera, et cetera. And while we're doing all these meetings, a fucking military coup was happening.
Oh.
At the exact same time. Because what had happened was Zimbabwe was under the rule of a guy named Robert Mugabe.
Yeah.
Robert Mugabe was, he was like the second black Zimbabwean president.
Okay.
But instead of like getting voted out, he just stayed in power and sort of became a dictator.
Oh.
Yeah. And he is the main reason why they put the sanctions on Zimbabwe because the West didn't want to deal with him.
So what sort of stuff was he doing?
So Mugabe's party, ZANU-PF, during the Revolutionary War, they were a far left, like almost communist state.
Yeah.
And if you remember obviously the Cold War, there was was against, the West versus communism. So any of those like heavy, high, what do you call it? Far leftist governments the West didn't want to do business with in the first place. And because of the way that things went with deposing the white government, he was very anti-white, anti-imperialist. Yeah, in his agenda. So what he did was, when the sanctions were happening, before the sanctions happened, there were elections that were going to take place. The white farmers in Zimbabwe, who were very wealthy and very influential still, they wanted to vote someone in who was friendlier with the
As
West.
you would.
As you would, obviously, yeah. But he saw that as like a betrayal, and he saw that as them selling out Zimbabwe back to like their colonial masters. So he did a land grab where he deposed a lot of the white farmers, majority of the white farmers from their land, took the land, and then installed black Zimbabwean, people, but that didn't really have the experience to run those big farms. Right?
What are they farming, do you know?
Maize.
Okay.
I think maize was a big one, corn, and what else? Like a bunch of stuff, but
Bunch of stuff that they have to grow though.
Yeah.
You've got to know about like weather. You got to know. It's not just like put some cow on it and they'll be fine.
That's right. Yeah. Beef as well. Yeah, maize, beef, and sheep. Yeah. But maize is the big one. And so he took all that land, all those farms instantly became less productive, and then the sanctions came in as well at the exact same time.
So you got limited food, and now you can't get shit from anywhere.
Yeah. And then Mugabe's government, he got in a bunch of crooks, just straight up fucking thieves that started to steal all the wealth from the rest of the country. Like, for example, at the time, I think maybe it's still the same. If you start a company, the government automatically owns 51% of your company.
Really?
51%. And from that 49%, you pay tax. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah, and you're
so
like...
it's just hard to get ahead. Like, you can never...
I can't do shit.
Yeah, you're always stuck down.
And it's hard to get ahead, honestly. It's hard to get ahead, honestly.
Selling petrol out of your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Having an SUV full of cash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he basically like cut the country away from the rest of the world, and then he fucking raped the country. He stole everything from him and his people. Yeah. So when we got there in 2017, he is 94 years old.
How long has he been in power for?
He was in power since since like 1978. Okay. Till like 2017.
Wow,
how long is that?
Had a good run.
Yeah, he was the longest running, or one of the longest running African leaders, or government leaders. Yeah, at the time. He was like known as like the father of Africa. He was a very complicated perception in Africa.
So some people love him, some people hate him.
Yeah. He's like...
That's how I want to be.
Yeah. He's like our Abraham Lincoln and our Adolf Hitler at the exact same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Complicated dude. Yeah. And all his cabinet people are like that as well. They're like heroes and fucking supervillains at the exact same time.
It depends who you are. If you're a honest working Joe, you're like, fuck that dog.
Yeah.
If you're you're like, well, I don't mind having an SUV full of money.
Yeah, exactly, Because you got to think about it like from the black perspective. Like if you go to Zimbabwe and you go to any of the older buildings, some of them have like plaques that like show you the history, where it'd be like, this building was founded in 1875. First built 1875. The first woman that worked here was in like 1927. The first black person that worked here was in 1976.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? So that's where we were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like black people in a black majority country were second-class citizens.
Which is crazy.
It's absolutely insane. And then these are the guys that rescued us. Yeah. And they didn't do it like they weren't given it. They fought for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're heroes.
Yeah.
But they also...
They like to party. They like to have
yeah,
fun.
yeah. It's like living...
They like to let their hair down. I get it.
Yeah, it's like being adopted by an abuser.
Yeah,
You know, thank you for saving me from the orphanage, but you fucking beat me every day.
Yeah, at least it's not raining.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So at the time, the guy's 94, and his wife was, the word on the street was his wife was really running the show.
Oh.
Yeah, his wife was a woman named Grace Mugabe, Mama Grace, nicknamed Mama Gucci because she loved Gucci.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I remember we're sitting in a hotel. We stayed in a hotel. We're sitting in this hotel, and it was the funniest thing because they had a political rally happening, and it's like her, Grace. Remember, she doesn't hold office.
Yeah.
But she's there leading this fucking thing, and behind her is all the ministers from, like, you know, the entire cabinet.
Yeah.
And she's up there fucking talking shit, like battle rap, like, and the fucking Minister of Finance, look at his fucking face. You need to fucking, you know, get it together, man. And she's like talking shit to all these guys, and they just having to sit there.
He's just the wife.
Yeah, because she's like the most powerful person in the country.
Yeah.
So,
how old is she? She's a lot younger.
Yeah. In her 70s, I think.
Yep, and he's in his 90s. So
Yeah.
She's sprightly, and he's just like...
Yeah. She's a powerful speaker, like very charismatic person. So they...
Put her hood on, like, fucking knees weak, mom, spaghetti.
Exactly, yeah. So I think, like, that was the straw that camels... I'm pretty sure that...
Yeah, really?
That speech
They
was
were
like...
this bitch?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was her sort of making the move. Like, this guy's about to die. I'm going to be the fucking president now.
Okay. And everyone was like,
No.
no, thank you.
I remember we're sitting in this hotel, and we're about to go meet a guy who's going to help us with installing a what do you call it? Water tank.
Yeah.
So you drill into the ground, you get the water source from like the underground.
Bore water.
Yeah, water, yeah. Yeah, it's a borehole.
Yeah.
And so we're about to go meet with him. We go meet him, we pick him up, we take him to the site, and we're on the radio, like listening just to the radio, and the radio's like, man, that was a crazy speech that Grace Mugabe said. I can't believe she was that bold, but da-da-da. And then the guy like sorts out the water, and then we're at night. It's nighttime, and we're watching TV, and like the TV crew is like nervous.
Oh.
Yeah, people are, like nervous on the TV crew.
Yeah.
They're still giving the news, but it's like has a weird vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I'm
There's
just like
a gun. Yeah.
Well, I'm just like, am I just seeing things weird right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I remember we woke up that morning, and we've been around the country for like 5 days by that point.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen a single gun.
Okay. It's good.
No, that's not true. Besides driving past Mugabe's
Yeah.
area, I had seen some guns. But like police don't have guns. People walking around don't have guns, et cetera, et cetera. But I remember that morning, I saw more guns than I'd never ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
For no reason. Like I remember all of a sudden the hotel security had guns.
Oh, really?
Police had guns. I remember one guy walking down the street with an AK-47.
Is that unnerving, just seeing that many guns in general?
Well, I was like, did I just miss it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
It wasn't like, holy shit, it was just like,
It's there.
huh, is that more, was I just not paying attention?
The upgrade in the simulation.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And yeah, I remember a guy walking down the street with an AK-47 around his fucking thing. And I'm being like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're like, carrying on. We're meeting with like the wood guy,
Right.
And then we come back home and now when you're driving in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of police checkpoints,
Yep.
right? You drive past these police checkpoints, and they're very regular.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you drive past, you see them a lot.
Yeah.
And yours interacting with those police checkpoints. Some of them are real, some of them are not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got stopped by a fake one at one point. That was a whole different story. But we're driving home that night, and there's not that many police checkpoints.
Yeah.
I'm like, are we just different? No, the same street. Maybe they don't do it every day.
Ran out of fuel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't drive, by the way. They just
okay.
sort of walk. And then the next morning, I turn on the news, and the news people aren't there. It's the fucking head of the army on the news, surrounded by his like military.
Yeah.
And he says, we've taken Robert Mugabe and his family into custody. We've fired all the police in the country. And as of right now, Zimbabwe is under military occupation until we figure out, what's going to happen next. Because they wanted Mugabe to sign a document basically removing himself from power.
Yeah,
They didn't want to depose him.
Yep.
They wanted him to resign.
Yes.
And
Dignified.
yeah.
Just quit now. We're not firing you.
Exactly, yeah. And that day we had to drive from one end of the country to the other. We were in Bulawayo, and we had to drive to Harare, which is a 10-hour drive.
Oh, jeez.
It's a big drive. And I remember at the time, me and my mom were fighting because, what were we fighting about? I was just, mom and son doing business, just really, I just was not, I hate dealing with my mom. She's crazy. So we were fighting at the time.
What's her name? Give her a shout out.
Yeah.
She's a big fan.
Yeah. We were fighting at the time, and we had to drive to like across the country during a fucking military coup.
Yeah.
And that was fucking terrifying, bro. Because now it's not, the checkpoints are filled in again, but it's with military.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different vibe. See, with police will be, what do you call it? They'll puff up their chests a little bit, but for the most part, if you're friendly, they're friendly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you kind of joke with them, et cetera, et cetera. Military guys, they're all like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
They all fucking have been training for like months, and they have guns, and they look like they're willing to use the guns.
Yeah.
So there's no fucking small talk or anything like that. And I was sitting in the back seat because I was fucked off with mom, and she was driving, and they're like, why is that guy sitting in the back seat? And my mom's talking shit about me to the fucking military guys, cracking them up. Because I was just sulking in the back, fuck you, mom. And we drove into Harare. We finally made it there.
So how old are you in this? Mid-20s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mid-20s.
Yeah, okay.
And we drove into Harare, and there is a massive fucking, like, crowd.
Yeah.
Like fucking...
Like it's a beat.
Yeah. What do you call it? There's a massive demonstration, protest, march happening. And Zimbabwe is a very segregated country. Like, when you go to black areas, there's only black people. If you go to white areas, there's only white people. If you go to Asian areas, there's only Asian people. But this march, it was very mixed. The white, black, Asian, Indian people all together. And there's military all around the place. So as we're driving we're driving through the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, someone just needs to throw a punch.
And it's just fucking on.
It's on. Like, this entire thing is about to catch fire.
A powder keg.
Yeah, it's a fucking powder keg ready to blow. But what ended up happening was it was the most peaceful military coup that there's ever been.
That's what you want.
How
long until you leave the country?
I had a few days until we leave. Yeah, we're there for 5 weeks. And it was a few days until we get to leave.
Yeah.
And man, it was fucking bananas. The only violence that happened was someone threw down a picture of Mugabe. Because the whole reason they were marching was they're protesting to go, Mugabe needs to step down. He needs to step down, needs to step down. And everyone just wanted him to step down. Because if he didn't, then, the military has to crack down and depose him, maybe shoot him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what happened? Did he step down?
He eventually stepped down.
Okay.
Yeah, later on that night.
What's Grace up to?
They fled the country.
Oh, okay.
So what they did...
He has to be dead by now, doesn't he?
He died, yeah. He eventually died a little bit of natural causes in like 96.
That's a pretty good innings, though.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. But the military was very... See, it wasn't a coup. It was more like a party reshuffling. Because the person who went into power now, the president, Emerson Mnangagwa, was his second in command.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The military was like trying to do it as peaceful as possible.
Yeah.
And they were successful in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want it to turn into like a civil war because it was teetering on that.
Yeah.
And people were really upset and the tension was high that day. So when he signed and he resigned, people were like, whew, and everything sort of went back to normal.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. But that was the craziest week of my life, man.
Yeah, it sounds insane.
Yeah.
What's we'll finish up quite soon.
Sure, yeah.
But obviously you got family members in Zimbabwe now.
Yeah.
Do you have any yearning to ever go back and live there, or are you just like, life's pretty good in Australia? Like you currently live in Perth, Western Australia.
My parents have retired back there.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents are back there. They live there. And I haven't visited them yet. I still need to, since they've moved back.
Yeah.
But man, why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Comedy there?
There is some comedy there. Obviously, nothing like that. And South Africa is just around. It's just like
comedy. I think is huge in South Africa.
It's huge in South Africa.
It's like a massive festival there.
Yeah. There's a big festival there. It's pretty big, and there's some great acts that come out of South Africa all the time.
Yeah.
Trevor Noah, Dusty Rich, and a whole bunch of other guys.
Is that a dream to sort of get over to South Africa to perform?
Definitely. Yeah. Would love to perform and in Zimbabwe as well. Would love to perform there. So like, man, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Especially now that things are getting more expensive here and, like water and land is becoming more scarce and all this sort of shit. Maybe moving to like a country like Zimbabwe might not be the worst thing.
Or military coup.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fucking get Albanese out or whoever the fuck's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And once everyone's got guns walking down the street, I'm going to be like, Thabo, what's happening?
It's happening.
We're on.
But
it's pretty. Like I can't even fathom that sort of life. To be fair,
it was crazy. I mean, look, I was not a hard cunt. You know what I mean? There was no part during the whole. Sometimes you think like if shit was gonna pop off, man, I would fucking be like, all right, let's find some water. Let's fucking.
Yeah.
I was just terrified the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm personally the exact same, and I knew that was not going to be the case when I cut my finger when I was 19 and I fainted. You know what I mean? Like in movies, they're always getting shot and stabbed and stuff, and they're like, it's just a flesh wound.
Exactly.
I was like,
you went down.
I literally passed out. My boss, I still remember being half conscious, and my boss trying to he was a small dude, and him trying to pick me up. Like, Tait, wake up! And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. My finger.
That's so funny.
So yeah, we're not all meant to be fucking.
We can't all be John Wick.
No, we can't. You got to sometimes die by John Wick.
Yeah, exactly.
Just been in the crossfire. Not even like fucking Like you're crossing the road, be like, today's a good day, and then a car accident hits you.
Yeah,
He smashed it into someone else.
Exactly.
They never talk about that.
They never do.
The families that John Wick fucked up.
100%. Yeah.
I want to see that.
100%. And I was with my mom and my grandmothers as well. So like, you know, at the best of times, you can't be like, you need to duck.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, why do I need to duck? You know, that we can just talk to that nice young man. Like, no, he has a fucking gun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the TLDR version of what took place.
No, thank you so much for opening up about that. I'm sure it's like still like it'd just be weird. I think
it was just weird.
Yeah, just an experience in your life. I guess.
Yeah.
Now you just tell jokes around the country. And that's why he's in Melbourne doing stand up at the moment, which is fucking fantastic.
I wasn't very funny on the podcast, but
no, this isn't the this isn't.
It's
not a comedy podcast.
Yeah,
I always tell people, I'm like, I just interview people.
Okay.
About random shit. If it's funny, it's funny. If not, we're learning about something else.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
And people always are like, oh, I wasn't very funny on it. I'm like, it's not the. There's another podcast coming out soon, and that's
the funny one.
That's gonna be the funny one. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Plugs? Anything?
Just follow me on social media. Thabo Tshuma, THABO TSHUMA. I have a podcast called Angry Africans. Follow that as well.
Yep.
Follow Tait. You need to do more stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I did stand up last night. I'll be the next Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it went well, right?
Yeah, it went all right.
Yeah.
For as well as it could go with. It was 13 people when I did it. But you did the lounge last night.
Lounge was fun. That I haven't been there yet. I had not been there yet.
Yeah.
That is the coolest fucking club I've ever been to in my entire life.
Well, I'm assuming
It
you will
is.
be back.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. I think I did okay. I got to meet fucking some like celebrities and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, this fucking suck.
Yeah. All right, the cameras are about to die in a second. So
Perfect.
peace out. Thank you so much for coming on. You've
Thanks
been
for
a
having me,
fucking
man.
absolute legend.